listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
So we're at the end of the year, and
I can hear it in your voice, actually. I love it.
It's only the beginning of December.
Well, but this is that important time of year where all the best of lists come out, and you get your Spotify Wrapped, which I got today, and all the dictionaries put out their, like their word, the word of the year, whatever they think is, and it's not going to be a surprise, really take issue with the Oxford word of the year. Do you know what it is? Did you see it?
No.
Brain rot.
Brain rot.
Yeah.
So
is social media.
Is it? Yeah, no, for sure. But like, is it offensive because that was the name of your favorite metal brand in the 2000s?
No, because I'm terribly distressed by this idea that anything people are doing now has to be rotting their brains. Like I'm always laughing because it implies that there was a golden time for civilization and we were all so smart. We didn't even have to take exams for Mensa. We were just instantly admitted because it was so golden. And now everyone's just, tripping on their own feet because they're so stupid. I find it insulting and frustrating and sad on the overall.
I mean, I think it's like, it makes sense to me that I think the Oxford English Dictionary is like the judgiest dictionary. And I say that with all the love for the Oxford comma. So I think like it embracing one of the judgiest descriptors of what they think is our current social ill, it doesn't surprise me that much. I understand taking like umbrage with it. I will say, I personally gotta say, for the most part, I don't think the internet is making me smarter. And I might be.
I was waiting for one of us to say that.
I might be among at least the slightly brain rotted at this point. Because I was on vacation. I took books. I didn't even have the attention span. Like I wasn't on my phone very much either because I like to be offline when I'm on vacation. But like, I basically just had to like stare into nothingness. Like I couldn't read my book. I couldn't take pleasure in long fiction or short stories or nonfiction. I just had to sit with my thoughts and sort of like, yeah, like
I do not. Wow. Okay, because I've read 30 books this year. Plus, I spend a terrible amount of time on social media.
Oh, I read a lot. I'm just saying this.
We're not saying that you are.
Yeah, we're not saying you're having brain rot. I'm saying like for me, I read a lot. I listen to a lot of books. Like I usually do, but like this vacation thing was like so interesting to me that I just could not bring myself to engage on any level. And maybe that's good. Maybe that is going to cure what I think of as my brain rot. I don't know. But like, I would say like my attention span, and like, I'm not even on TikTok. Like my attention span has become, as I've become more anxious this year about everything, my attention span has become equally sort of like angstified.
Well, I mean, I think like when we have a dog and I take the dog for a walk pretty much every day for between half an hour to an hour. And I do not listen to anything on my headphones. Sometimes I forget to take my phone most times with me, but I just find that space like so relaxing and nice just to like walk down the street and not be processing any information at the same time, to just be like walking. And I've been off social media, been less on social media recently, just even looking at it. And it just feels to me like less noise coming at me from all directions. And I don't know, I've gotten over this idea that I'm like knowing less because I'm consuming less information on the internet, and I'm just satisfied with not knowing lots of stuff and just having a calm mind.
Yeah, like I think it has to be like something that we figure out our personal relationships to stuff rather than it being like that FOMO sort of like missing out of like the great sort of like everyone connected together. Like, I think it makes sense.
I think you nailed it though with the judgy. I just think that I think that if you go back in history, also there is a tendency to what's the word I'm looking for? Denigrate what the lower classes are doing, right? Like vaudeville or something, right? That was just nonsense to fill the brains of idiots. And
wasn't Shakespeare partly to fill the brains of idiots?
Exactly.
Like, for sure. Like, yeah.
Just like basically entertainment for the masses is of no use, or it's going to rot your brain. I mean, I think that's a really old expression. So I'm more weary as a member of a society that is constantly doing this, then that, then this, then that, over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think, like, a lot of, and especially, like, a lot of stuff that I think, especially, typically, interests that have been gendered over time are always sort of among the first things to be sort of, like, critiqued as trifling or useless or wasteful,
but
etc.
I also think, like, the good people at Oxford Dictionary are probably under as much pressure as any of us in our workplaces to be like trendy, get engagement, like think of a word that will cause outrage with people who think it's insulting.
But you know what? It's so funny though that like brain rot would be their thing. Like again, that just so exemplifies Oxford English Dictionary. They're like the most insulting thing we could say.
Like what will bring all their outrage out?
We have rage baited brain rot. And you like it's so funny because it's such a term that like it's like if you wanted to insult someone, like more basic people would just be like dumbass or whatever, and like they're like, no.
Yeah.
Brain rot is the
Lisa, they just want your engagement and now they've gotten it. Look we're doing a podcast on that word.
Well, yeah, okay. If that's the conclusion that we're landing on, fine. I feel better about that than just this idea that at when I come home and I'm on my little cozy couch with my dogs and I take a little scroll and I see some amusing videos and some funny things, and then or I take in some really beautiful fashion or some thoughtful posts on things. I just resent people considering that to be rotting my brain.
I think that they're often talking about things that they really look down on, such as Real Housewives.
Yes,
that's
yes.
I mean, but there's no way that Oxford English Dictionary home. I have to assume. I don't actually know, but I'm assuming it's comes out of Oxford. Maybe. But the UK has some of the trashiest reality shows in the whole world. And I everyone consumes things that give them a bit of space. And, the other thing is, I would like to say, I just literally watched a show that mentioned this. This woman was making jam out of fruit that specifically is best to make jam out of once it's rotted. So, look,
whoa, wow.
Brain rot, not always a bad thing. Sometimes you make incredible, cool, interesting space for other things to come out of one's own ruin.
Slow drop.
Literally an hour ago, this was part of a very old Midsummer Murders episode.
Really? I love Midsummer Murders.
Yes.
See, there you go. Yeah. Was Barnaby involved in the jam making, or
his wife was
his wife Joy?
Yeah, Joyce. Yeah.
Joy. Yeah.
You're gonna have to look that recipe up.
Joyce. Yes, Joyce. Yes.
Look, there's just nothing better than a little slice of old England sometimes, be that dictionary, be that the location for where they filmed the movie that we are about to talk about. Look, not my cleanest segue, a little bit ugly, a little
Just like that jam.
a little bit.
Also, musicals are for the masses, so this
And
works.
if we're talking about the moral decay of brain rot, then a lot of people think musicals are chief among the evils and wickedness of the stage. Have you guessed what we're talking about? All right, I bet you have. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And you are listening to Pop This. And we are talking about Wicked.
We sure are. And we have been talking.
Who isn't?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, literally everyone in the world with a podcast or a blog or a TikTok is talking about Wicked.
And let me just say, too, that I think it's fascinating. So there was a quasi attempt to, and I don't know what the word was, to come up with a like Wicked and Gladiator.
Oh, the
2
portmanteau.
Yeah, of that. Yeah, of Wicked and Gladiator. I don't know what they came up with. But
Wicked and Wackyator, I don't know.
yeah. But over this past weekend, the biggest box office thing was Moana 2, which is also a musical. So, you know, screw you, Gladiator. You know, like your macho men fighting in sandals. No, we're not into that anymore. We want to sing. We want girls to sing about their problems. That's what we want.
Honestly, if we could change the title of this podcast, it would be Let Us Sing About Our Problems. Except AG would be like just staunchly delivering a bunch of like freestyles that are like refusing melody.
It all has to be original melodies.
Yeah.
People.
We're not getting sued here.
Well, I gotta say, I loved it.
Oh, I loved it too. Yeah. Okay, are we alone?
AG?
Or? Yeah.
AG?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I admire it for it being a amazing production. I thought the performances were great, but I don't really have any emotional attachment to this franchise, so I don't think it didn't really like move me as it has moved fans of the musical, I think.
I'll be honest, I actually was dreading it going in because I'm not a big fan of the musical. I've seen it on
Yeah,
stage.
you said, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it on stage. I was very like, meh, whatevs. It didn't get me. The movie made me love the musical so much more.
Wow. Well, I come at this as a kid. I was obsessed with Wizard of Oz. Just absolutely,
I love the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I love
love
Wizard of Oz
that.
too.
I think I just loved it. And then I wasn't aware that this Wicked thing had happened. I've tried to read the book. We should probably say this is like to discuss this is to peel back an onion's many layers, though.
Yeah.
Because we should probably do that first, shouldn't we?
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, would you like to read the background?
Sure. Wicked, titled on screen as Wicked Part 1, is a 2024 American musical fantasy film directed by John M. Chu and written by Winnie Holtzman and Dana Fox, with songs by Stephen Schwartz. It is the first of a two-film adaptation of the stage musical of the same name by Schwartz and Holtzman. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath because here's where it happens. Which was loosely based on the 1996 novel by Gregory Maguire, which in turn is based on L. Frank Baum's 1900 novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, its sequel, and its 1939 film adaptation. So yeah, layers here. The film covers the musical's first act. It stars Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba Throp and Ariana Grande Butera? I didn't know that she had a new last name. Okay. As Galinda Upland, Jonathan Bailey, Ethan Slater, Bowen Yang, Marissa Bode, Peter Dinklage, Michelle Yeoh, and Jeff Goldblum are featured in supporting roles. Wicked premiered at the State Theatre in Sydney, Australia on November 3rd, 2024, and was theatrically released in the US on November 22nd. It won Best Film and Best Director at the National Board of Review. It has grossed $366 million worldwide on a $158 million budget. Wicked Part 2 is scheduled for release on November 21st, 2025.
Thank you so much. AG, would you like to read this tiny synopsis that I threw in there?
Sure. Set in the land of Oz, mostly before Dorothy Gale's arrival from Kansas, it follows Elphaba as she embarks on her path to becoming the Wicked Witch of the West and chronicles her friendship with her classmate Glinda, who also becomes Glinda the Good. That's from Wikipedia.
Thank you. I gave a very short version because, like, I don't know. We don't really need to go into it all. It's basically the prequel, the imagined prequel to The Wizard of Oz. And it attempts to sort of write, give some backstory to how this Wicked Witch of the West became this reviled, God, what's it called in the movie where there's the bad guy? Anyway. Wow. My brain, guys.
What?
My brain.
What?
Not good.
You know what? No brain rot here at all.
Yeah,
There's
no.
so much brain rot. I'm telling you.
It's
What do you mean? What do you mean? Like the evil characters?
The foil in the character was like, is not the protagonist. but the-
Antagonist?
Antagonist. Thank you.
Wow,
Jesus.
okay.
See, look, you guys didn't fully believe. You laughed a little bit when I said I had brain rot, and I'm telling you, my state is real. Unfortunately.
Okay. Wow. We shall keep
They
that
were
in mind.
thinking of me when they declared that the word of the year over at Oxford Dictionary.
Well, I have to say that I think this film also, it's nothing wrong with the fact that a book was written called Wicked, but I think a lot of people are starting to watch Wizard of Oz now going, wait a second, Dorothy dropped her house, killed this woman's sister, and then stole her shoes. Like, that is right there, like, pretty bad.
I feel like I've been hearing some of this sort of like revisionist look at Wizard of Oz for a number of years. And maybe it does tie back to when this novel came out. I should say it's Gregory Maguire wrote the novel Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, which is that revisionist history, and then was adapted into the Broadway musical. I feel like before that we had been invited to sort of reconsider. This woman just didn't want to be bitten by Dorothy's dog, that Dorothy had also killed her sister, and then tried to steal her, shoes. I feel like I had been presented with this idea, and I don't really know that it necessarily, like Wicked itself, fits in all that well with like what the Wizard of Oz then becomes. Like, I kind of think you have to almost sort of like engage with them as very separate but related texts, you know?
Like the Old and New Testament.
I mean, I don't know that's exactly, but like, because I'm not familiar with either really, but I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah.
But like, so I've never read the book either. Lisa, you've never read the book. And AG, you've never read the book either.
No.
I have seen reviews, though.
Okay.
People are very alarmed at the book.
At the changes the stage musical made to the book?
Well, that and the fact that the book is really harsh and really, it's been softened for the musical. Like lots of different.
Harsh in what sense?
Well, lots of different plot developments are not included in that are in the book. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just say that there was just a lot darker. The book is a lot darker than what ended up being the musical.
There's more overt themes of genocide and
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I mean, I kind of want to read the book now.
Yeah. Have both of you have seen Wicked like on stage?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your experience seeing it?
Well, okay. I don't know if I said this last time, but my real introduction to Wicked came from the show Glee.
Oh, yeah.
What was Leah Michelle's character? Rachel? Was that?
Yep.
Yeah. And Kurt were auditioning to sing this song in a musical, Defying Gravity. And I had never heard this song before. And I was in tears. I was at home. I was in tears. I watched it over and over again. And then I found that one scene from the Tony Awards where Idina Menzel floats into the sky, basically. And what am I watching? And from there, that's how it started for me.
Interesting. I think that I had known about it because I was like kind of a musical theater nerd. And I thought that we had seen it one time when we were in New York, but it turns out no, we won the lottery to see it when it was touring in Vancouver. And so that's where we saw it. And I remember like there was so much hype and I thought like, this is gonna blow my mind. And it fell a little flat for me. I remember thinking, God, this is really long. I remember thinking everything good is in the first half. Like the second half is like very boring, which is like honestly the case for a lot of musicals. Very rarely is the second half stronger than the first or even on par with the first. And I was pretty underwhelmed.
Wow.
I mean, I remember the Glee thing actually, and I liked that a lot. And I did love seeing Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel like performing at the Tonys and I enjoyed that. But yeah, for whatever reason, the stage production that I saw did not enthrall me the way that I thought it would. And so when I was watching the movie, I was just like, God, everything is richer. Like John Chu has, and the performances obviously of Cynthia and Ariana, I think Cynthia especially, the things that John Chu does and the choreography that is happening, like everything that's going on, it really just made a much richer piece for me to sort of dig into. Like I felt immersed in a way that the stage production just didn't do for me.
Well, I had managed to avoid any knowledge of Wicked, of learning anything about Wicked against my will, for until like last week or whenever you told me I was watching it.
Yeah.
And so I went into the movie with a fresh, clean slate.
Yep.
No expectations. No, like, oh, I saw it on Broadway and it was way better kind of thing. And yeah, like I actually prefer musicals like that, like old fashioned big dance numbers, like scream singing.
Okay.
Costumes, big costumes. And, like I like the classic type of musicals versus like the Mamma Mia's, let's say, kind of musicals. And so, yeah, I thought they did an amazing job. Like I've heard some people complain about or want to discuss the color of the film and how it's a bit muted. Mm-hmm. And there's
I've heard that
it's like, The Wizard of Oz was really like Technicolor. And so they should have done it up. But yeah, I actually thought it was quite a beautiful movie to watch. And the performances were really great. And yeah,
and they built a lot of sets. Have you seen all the sets they built?
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah. The whole thing is very impressive. But as someone going in with like no background knowledge at all about the story, it was just a little bit like I found Ariana Grande obviously an amazing singer, and I obviously know why she was cast in the role. But like when you wrote in the outline that we got, A-dubs, that the character was not as zany as some others have portrayed her, like Kristen Chenoweth, I guess, portrayed her. That just clicked in my mind because I was like, oh, that makes sense now, because like following the story, just watching the movie, you're like, she's because the like big song that she sings, Popular,
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's got some weird notes in it, and it's a dissonant song. And when you said the word zany, I was like, yeah, that song needed to be performed more zany.
Yeah, well, I don't want to take credit. I don't want to take credit for that observation. That's Tressie McMillan Cottom, the great critic, genius writer, and I was quoting her from like her. I think she was writing that on Instagram, but she did a big piece with three other critics at the New York Times. But yeah,
I was like, the character that I saw on screen was just like this kind of sweet, delicate creature. And it was like, I don't think she would have sang dissonant notes like that if she had like a voice. And I don't know, like, it just like, there were just moments like that where I was like, it doesn't quite make sense to me. But if the character had been performed in a more like zany fashion, then I feel like I would have understood what like the motivations and the character a bit more.
Yeah, like I think like what I was getting from Ariana's performance is that she was entirely 100% informed by watching Legally Blonde. And I just thought like she was bringing a lot of Elle Woods energy to Glinda or Galinda. And like I thought she was funny. I thought she landed her comic beats like fine. Mm-hmm. But like I didn't find her necessarily to be sweet. Like I think like there's a real sort of like I think she holds that entitlement of this character really well. And you understand that she is absolutely the epitome of white feminism in that she will support every terrible infrastructure as long as she can get what she wants out of it. So I think she did that well. I would have liked to see that sort of slightly zany, unhinged approach. I think I think she brought like something more austere to it. And I think Tressie, of course, as a genius writer, like that was just her Instagram note, not even like part of her like written piece, but like really like gets at the heart of it when she sort of like talks about that lack of madcap.
Yeah.
I guess I don't see it as madcap though, or funny. I think of it as such a serious and sad story. I mean, nobody ever talks about the animals and the goat and the professor. And I mean, we just sort of, I mean, that's where Elphaba has, found herself, what's the word I'm looking for? Like reluctantly having to take on this cause, and because it's so important to her and she understands what it's like to be treated differently. Yeah. And so it's, even Defying Gravity. I mean, I again, your notes about female rage, and how important that is. It's like the song it doesn't quite fill me with rage, but when the very, very beginning line of that song, something has changed within me, that you've become somebody different. You can't see the world anymore the same way. Mm-hmm. And that's the take for me. That's why this musical is so important, why I love it so much, is because I love anything that captures that. I mean, if we're using back to that structure of the Joseph Campbell structure, the call to adventure, you can't turn away.
Yeah, and I think I think that's one of the things that has always actually felt, and I think this is one of the things that missed for me in the stage production, is that I couldn't put my whole heart into believing the friendship between Elphaba and Glinda, because Glinda, when called to
that's what I was thinking when I was watching this movie.
Yeah, like when Glinda is called to step into her power and support Elphaba, she doesn't. And I know that that's a real world situation where we see people retreat into, and I think, and this is why one of the things is so fascinating about watching this movie at this time, is because we've had so many situations, and we are in the midst of so many situations where we are seeing people choose their own personal safety as an attempt to get what they want, instead of risking themselves to, help with the liberation of everybody. Mm-hmm. And so I think that this movie is timely in a way that honestly no one wants, because it hurts.
Yeah, but see, I'm saying that I feel like, and I don't know what the direction was, or if it was just something that Ariana Grande can't do. I don't know. But I would just argue to say I don't want zany. I wanted a bit more grounded.
Well, I think what she's saying is that, or I think what she is like literally writing is just that like the previous versions, that a bit of zany energy is the way that we can believe a little bit more in the actual like heartfelt closeness between Elphaba and Glinda. This sort of doesn't, they're not matching each other's energies, I think is what she's trying to say. Is that like, so this is one of the quotes she says, the contradictory feminist messages is one of the things she's always liked in Wicked. And so this is the actual quote. Something about the scale of the production and the significant gap in performance between Ariana Grande's Glinda and Erivo's Elphaba made them really clear. These characters are mirror images. In one big musical number, they literally pantomime each other. Erivo's power comes from her rage, which she spends a lot of time struggling to control. Glinda's power comes from soft power, by manipulating how others see her. But I like female rage. I don't want it tempered with social graces. I want Elphaba to burn down whatever she wants, including Glinda if she gets in her way. Women deserve rage. We have a lot to be angry about. And I think that like that reading for me felt very true to what I was experiencing in the theater. I was devastated by Glinda's betrayal. And I was so angry on behalf of Elphaba that she has to go flying off on this broom alone again. Like she's been isolated and othered her whole life. And at this point, like everyone has turned their back on her, except I guess this sort of male character who maybe will support her. I'm not really sure where that's going to come from, where that's going to go. But like, and like, she is now the face of wickedness, you know, like and again, this sort of like continued othering that is chasing her through the sky.
And I just think like when, as a person who doesn't know anything about the story, like when we got to the end of it, the Defying Gravity song, I just was like, this doesn't really make sense to me that they like Elphaba would be singing this song about friendship or like, I hope you are happy or whatever, because it would be like, oh, like is she saying, I hope you're happy in your like fastest journey with these people that are turning me into a wicked witch? Is that what she's singing about?
I hope you're happy in your fascist journey is the future of greeting cards. It's so frightening. Yeah. It is so frightening. And that's like, it's one of the challenging things about this moment and this accountability piece, like where I think a lot of us have even been like dealing with this in our own extended friendships and with our families. And like, it's really, it is quite a time to be alive.
But see, for me, this story always read like that Glinda knew always that she was not a great person or even a good person, but being around Elphaba made her feel like she was. And that's why she wanted to be around her.
And I think that that's the quality that we're getting at with the word like zany. It's maybe not exactly the word, but there needed to be some edge to it to make us understand that she was this person that would turn on her and follow like the opposite path and not support her.
But we see at the beginning, she's desperate to want to learn magic. She goes, she wants to be, the story is telling us that she's hoping to become a better person all the time. She wants to learn magic. She's come to the university. She's doing all of these things, but inside she knows she's just not up to it.
Well, I don't know that she wants to be a better person. She wants more power.
Well, I think she wants to be
the power of like magic. Like,
yeah, but I think she wants to be a better person by becoming friends with Elphaba and helping her become popular.
But that's the thing, like, I mean, she sort of softens in the moment where people are making fun of her with the hat situation. But like, I think that there's something like a little bit darker there, which is maybe that's the energy like we need to like. She's still, Elphaba has power and Glinda wants power. And I think that there's something like a little bit not sincere in, I don't think it's necessarily like calculating that she ends up becoming friends with Elphaba, but like she understands that Elphaba is a path to a power that she does not have.
Oof. I do not see that. That's not how
Fair
I
enough.
read that. Yeah, I completely, I feel like inside of her is this understanding that she's around greatness, and she can see why it's not for her.
I think
because it won't happen
both
to
could
her.
be true.
Well, yeah, but I guess I don't,
Because she takes the out at the end.
except because she's not that person, and she knows that about herself. I'm not like,
I think we're actually saying the same thing, but just like slightly differently.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see her as so calculating. I just see her as more realistic.
I mean, I guess one person's realism is one person's calculating, because she's gonna save her own. She's gonna get what she wants, however she has to do it, and that's by like being. I just like. Can you imagine? They start this film with Glinda floating down in a fancy bubble. She is alive, and her best friend is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And she has survived the fascism and genocide that has taken her best friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is a bad good witch. that is a
Well,
bad,
yeah.
bad.
I mean, I didn't get a sense that she was good.
No, but like I like how they play with Glinda the good and Wicked Witch, and like how these are the things we're asked to interrogate. It's just like on the surface, this like tiny white super thin woman is like the face of good, and this like
Exactly, and she
painted
knows she's
green,
not.
like-
She's 100% in on the fact that she is not a good person, and she knows that about herself.
yeah. So that's why I think that there is something a little bit calculating about it.
Yeah, and whereas I just see it as more of an admission, but that she does, as people do, want to be around someone who is that good, because it's incredible to know people like that.
Well, and it's easier to do that than actually, hold yourself to account to be good.
I didn't really see it that way at all. I just saw her as like, she's this popular kid who, I guess, I don't know. It seemed like she maybe took pity on Elphaba at like the hat situation. And then it they became sort of uneasy friends. But anyway, on the final note of the movie, I was just like, why would Elphaba spend all this time duetting with this girl? She would just like peace out and just be like, okay, do your thing. I'm going to leave. I'm not going to sing a stupid duet with you because our paths are like forking.
Yeah, but she's also not.
I don't wish you well.
She's not having a friend. She's never had a friend.
I don't want you to be happy. You're with the bad guys. I don't want you to be happy. Like, that's fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm going to go.
I feel that goes against the spirit of the movie, but okay.
It did strike me as odd that she wished her well on her fascism journey. But you know what? Okay, so one of the things that I do love, and actually, I love watching them together. I think that they have like a very nice chemistry. Like, I wanted to believe in their friendship, and then Glinda really ruined it for me. But you know what I have loved so much is watching Cynthia and Ariana do interviews together.
Oh, that is a whole other.
And just like how.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I don't know. Maybe they hate each other in real life. I don't know. I don't think they do though. They have a lot of matching tattoos that they got together. I love watching them do interviews together. I love watching them like hold fingers. I love this ridiculous moment when she says pink goes well with green or whatever, goes good with green, and then like Elphaba corrects her and says goes well with green. Like that moment made me cry in the movie in a way that I was like, what is happening to me? And it's not just about my love of Miss Piggy and Kermit and how immediately I thought of them in that same sort of the tension of their affection for each other. I like complicated dynamics, and this movie gave me a lot of complicated dynamics, and I appreciated that.
You know what I didn't like right away? Is finding out that it was just part one.
Oh, I knew that. Yeah.
I'm so mad.
Yeah.
I'm so mad. I was like, okay, 2 hours, 40 minutes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get through it. It's going to be fine. And then the first thing you see that it's just like part 1. They're not even They're not going to tell me the whole. I have to come back because of capitalism next year.
Well, also for editing purposes. I mean, I don't want to see a 5-hour movie, as you can imagine.
Oh, but the Broadway stage production is only 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
With an intermission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just do that?
I mean, I do think, like, I can't even believe I'm going to say it, but I really think that, like, the way that they filled out the first half made it so much better. Like, I actually, like, I think probably they probably could have given
cut the
us
whole
one.
Jeff Goldblum stuff. Like, I don't.
That's the wizard. That's literally the whole story.
I don't need his song. I don't need the map. I don't know. Like, just that part the last half an hour could have been edited down to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I gotta say, I like Jeff Goldblum, but he doesn't bring a lot to the movie.
Yeah. I mean, fair.
I would have liked to see Ted Danson in that role.
Do it truly old-timey, like Dr. Zhivago. Make it like a 3-hour movie with an intermission.
Yeah, I would have loved that.
Yeah.
And then have it over with.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Sorry, Disney capitalism, not gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not gonna happen. Okay, so, like, obviously, there's a lot to discuss in this movie, and there's no way that we can discuss it all. But could I discuss with you for just a couple of seconds how much I weirdly really liked Jonathan Bailey and was not expecting to care about him in the least or give a rat's bottom about his character. But, like, I gotta say, I like his sort of pelvic first performance where he's just kind of sliding in and grinding things and, like, I loved his sort of dancing on the clocks.
Good.
Like,
yeah.
he is doing everything he can with every second that he is on film.
I agree. I was impressed by his number at the school. It was the choreography was amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah. It was a highlight.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna, come on. You're telling me that you are surprised you like this incredibly handsome, charming man.
Yeah, I don't like handsome men for the most part.
Okay, but still, that's, I mean, wow.
True. Like, I was impressed with the way he danced.
What about that really, really, really ridiculously handsome man that shows up in the movie? Anyone have any thoughts on that?
I didn't like him I don't care for his character in Bridgerton.
Yeah, I didn't care about him in Bridgerton at all. I thought I was really impressed with his dancing. He reminded me a little bit of Patrick Swayze, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought he was like, I really like, I understand a little bit why people are talking about, like, obviously there's like a lot of sort of queer subtext in this film, but I also like, I love that, like, as part of his dance performance, it also has like a lot of queer subtext. Like, he's like this like pansexual prince. And I really like, I dig that as I dig that as like a character choice. And I think he really embraces it on every level.
I loved every second Bowen Yang was on the screen.
Oh my God, of course.
Yes.
Bowen.
Well, yes.
Bowen.
Yes. That was very cute. And I just really liked the feel of the film too. The way it looked. I didn't mind the muted colors. I thought it was beautiful. I do have one thing, and maybe I don't understand it. Perhaps it's an acronym, but I've been trying to figure out why Shiz University, SHIZ. What is that? It's a very uncomfortable word to say.
Yeah, it's a weird word.
I have no idea.
Shiz. Is that even is it a thing? Is there such a, beyond it being a university, is like a shiz a thing?
I don't know. That's a great question. When you showed me the link to the school that you found online, shizuniversity.com.
Yeah.
And you go to the about section, does it give you any information? Because I only clicked on it briefly, and I know that you were exploring the dorms.
Yeah.
But
choosing a room.
Yeah.
Have you got your student ID yet, Lisa?
I'm trying to find
So
it.
cute.
Anyway, it kind of stood out for me when they kept saying shiz. Wasn't there like Brocklehurst or something they could have, I don't know.
Or just
Yeah, they literally, it's a made up word. They could have done.
Yeah,
they could have done so
anything.
many
Yeah.
words. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird that they settled on that. But I gotta say, like, some of the choices in general that they made for the film, like, are a little bit curious. Like, so they call it Shiz University. I have no real understanding of the age range of the students.
Or what are the other students learning?
Yeah.
Couldn't
other
tell
than
you.
alphabet.
Couldn't tell
Yeah.
you.
Because she was pulled out of there because she's so
Yeah, like
smart.
What do the others learn?
Yeah, I don't know what the degree system is here at the school. I also just I loved the scene where she gets so mad and uses the poppies to make everyone else fall asleep, but then for some reason doesn't make Jonathan Bailey fall asleep, which I didn't quite understand how that worked.
Yeah, that was curious.
I was a little bit surprised by that. Obviously, I guess what we're to take from the beginning, and I don't remember this from the musical, so I don't know if this is true or not, but it clearly is Jeff Goldblum that has the affair with Elphaba's mother.
That's what I thought too, right? No,
Yeah,
is that,
definitely is Jeff
Yeah.
Goldblum playing the person having the affair.
That was another one of my questions.
Okay. To me, that was extremely clear.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly why she came out green, but it seemed for sure.
I thought they
it
were
was Jeff
drinking
Goldblum.
some kind of green thing, wasn't
Well, she
there?
was drinking I thought she was drinking absinthe or
Yeah.
something. So I thought it was
Yeah.
a commentary on how you shouldn't drink while pregnant, but I wasn't quite sure.
I also kind of was expecting Nessa Rose to have a bigger character arc in the story.
More to do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted more for her because I think the actor is quite good and, deserves that, and then get stuck.
Or I thought there would be more sister moments or something
Yeah.
the Alphaba's journey would she would be more involved in that or something.
No, apparently we're only supposed to care about the sisterhood of Elphaba and Glinda. But that's so it seems okay, this is going to be the meanest thing I've said in a while.
There we go. Okay.
But they give Nessa Rose Ethan Slater as her love. Come on. She deserves he's fine, but he's not doing anything special in this film. I don't really understand.
Well, I kind of thought maybe it's cuz I guess this is a mean thing to say too, but he plays Munchkin well.
Well, sort of, except that
Wow.
he's the same height as Glinda. Him and Glinda are exactly the same height. They're not she's not being cast as Munchkin. They both give Munchkin, and I do stand by my assertion that Ethan Slater and Ariana Grande do look a lot alike, which is perhaps why they've fallen in love. Because you end up, allegedly falling for people who look like you sometimes. But it just I don't know. I haven't found anything all that special about his performance so far.
No. Was it meant to be? No. Bach.
Well, he's SpongeBob. He's a musical theater kid. He's supposed to be
Yeah.
coming in hot. And I don't know. I'm pretty.
And Bach is a very shiz word. Bach. What is that? Sorry. I'm just
Yeah, I know.
they're odd. To spend so much time on the author said that he made an anagram out of Frank Baum to make Elphaba. He spent a lot of time on that. Then just to say Bach. like a chicken sound or something,
People have deadlines. He just put a thumbtack in it on his character board and forgot about it and then had to just do something.
I called him Bach. Okay.
Absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. But yeah, there's a lot of different reviews. People have had lots of things to say, but I will encourage anyone who wants to sort of engage with a piece of criticism. If you can only choose one, I think that I'm not going to say everyone that she's in conversation with in the New York Times is worth reading, but Tressie McMillan Cotton is, and go read her, even if you're just reading her excerpts of what she has to say. And you want to ignore the others, it's fine.
Yep, fair.
I agree.
Yeah.
But are you guys excited for Wicked Part 2?
Yeah, I'll be there. Of course. Yeah. Plus, we didn't get For Good yet, so,
everybody's saying that it's like the weaker half of the musical, and I feel like I've gotten all of this stuff out of the first part. Like, I understand that it's an amazing production. I've heard the voices. I've seen amazing
And you know where it's
choreography.
going, and it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know.
maybe I don't need to see part 2. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah,
you might be right.
Yeah.
I am excited for part 2 because if they can really like make me love Wicked in a way that the actual stage musical never did, I'm in. Like John M. Chu, I will follow you now to the ends of the earth. Cynthia Erivo, I was already worshiping at your feet. Like, I feel very good about this. And I think Ariana Grande does a fine job. Like, I am fine with her as well. But I'm really excited to see where Cynthia takes Elphaba in the next film.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. Yeah.
So, does Wicked Part 1 pop?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It
does.
pops and then it just keeps floating because it doesn't have to
Oh,
come
it
down.
defies gravity.
There you go. See? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say it pops.
Wow.
Look at
Wow.
you.
Yeah, it's a billion times better than all of the other musicals we've watched for this podcast, for sure.
Okay.
But I also don't think I'm going to see part 2.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's fair too, though. Yeah, I get it.
Fair enough. We love to leave our episodes on other things we recommend as well. I'm gonna jump in here. I'm gonna go first.
Do it.
As I was as I was drinking the disgusting peg light mixture that you have to have before a colonoscopy over the course of 2 days, I watched all the episodes of A Man on the Inside, the new Mike Schur comedy starring Ted Danson, and it's great.
Oh, it's on Netflix, isn't it?
Heartbreaking moments. It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
There are some heartbreaking moments, but it's very funny. It's very good. A lot of excellent casting of elderly folks, older actors who maybe like don't get as much work as they should. And it's all about a widower and a retired engineering college professor takes a job as an investigative assistant for a private detective to go undercover at a retirement community in San Francisco in order to find a missing ruby necklace. That is the premise of it. It's very fun. It's based on a documentary.
Oh, wow.
Made by Maitza Alberti, a 2020 documentary called The Mole Agent. So now I got to go find that documentary because I'm excited about this. I don't know if it'll get a season 2 or not, but it's just 8 episodes, and it was excellent company for my colonoscopy prep, if that's an endorsement that has never been said before.
I think that has never been shared before. Yes, for sure.
That's a pull quote for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it your colonoscopy pal.
Lisa, how about you? What do you
Well, I
recommend?
am just, since we were talking about this, I think one of the more heartbreakingly sad endings to a show I really did enjoy at the beginning was Glee. Just a cast of characters with so much tragedy. But as I was saying, so Wicked the musical came out in 2003, the first performance. The episode I'm talking about that was on Glee was the first season in 2009. And that, as I said, was the first time I heard Defying Gravity. Now, I know that we have the musical, we have the way it fits in with Elphaba's story, but they incorporate the song into the lives of these characters as well in the show. And I think that's what makes it, to me, such a powerful song, is that it does translate into finding your own power. I mean, I'm obviously, but anyway, the way they put it into some, the way they gave it to some, high school students with big dreams, I thought was just a really great choice. And I encourage, it's on YouTube. Just watch the two singers. It's very sweet.
Awesome. Thank you. AG?
Excellent. I'm going to recommend a TV series called Interior Chinatown. It's on Disney Plus right now. It stars Jimmy O Yang and Ronnie Chung as, I guess, these it's kind of a meta thing. Like, they are waiters that work in a Chinese restaurant. And, well, it's mainly about Jimmy O Yang is Willis, and he dreams of like this bigger life where he's not what he sees as a background character. And the story is about him becoming kind of accidentally caught in this, stuck in a police procedural called Black and White. And it's kind of like interesting to wrap your head around. But yeah, like, it's mostly like he's a person that's stuck in this TV show. And he witnesses a crime and he has to start an investigation. It's very funny. And both Jimmy and Ronnie are like hilarious. You should follow them on Instagram. They're very funny comedians. But the show is very cool looking, like very, like, the colors are amazing. The cinematography is amazing. And it's based on a novel by Charles Yu, and he's the showrunner. And so, yeah,
Have you read the book?
Complicated. No, I want to read it now.
Yeah, it's supposed to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, I'm gonna track down the book and read it. But
Wow.
right now, the TV show is really great.
That sounds amazing. Oh,
Awesome. I'm very excited
excellent.
about
Yeah.
it. Well, lots of great stuff there for everyone to check out. If you would like to get a hold of us, you can email us at popthiscollective@gmail.com. You could find us on our various social medias. And if you would like to rate and review us, you can. 5 stars.
5 stars. And thanks to Andrea Gin, our producer and co-host, and if not a musical fan, the person who hates it the most, who has seen the most musicals for sure.
What a distinguishing honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.